Suffering and change, Buddhist lessons that transform your life instantly. In the journey of life, each of us must face challenges, pain, resentment, and suffering. Perhaps you are feeling trapped in negative thoughts, in a world full of anxiety, or powerless in the face of difficulties that you cannot control. But there is an important truth: suffering is not something fixed. Buddhism does not teach us to avoid suffering, but to understand its nature and transform it. The Four Noble Truths show that suffering is inevitable in life, but there is a way for us to overcome it and not let it dominate our lives. Resentment is like holding a hot coal in your hand. The one who gets hurt is you, because anger only makes you heavier. When you cannot forgive others, when you hold negative emotions inside, you are only hurting yourself. Forgiveness will set you free, it will help you feel lighter and find peace in your heart. So, are you ready to explore how Buddhism can help you find peace and the strength to change your life? Let's walk this journey together to realize that life changes when we change. In today's video, we will go through each step, each profound lesson from Buddhism about suffering, transformation, and how we can transform ourselves. You will discover the secrets to living a lighter, happier life, no matter the challenges ahead. Stay tuned and don't miss out, the path to spiritual freedom starts here. The existence of suffering and how to face it. Suffering in Buddhism is not something we can escape from, but rather an inseparable part of human life. Suffering can arise from many causes, from external events, from our emotions, or from desires that can never be fully satisfied. Buddha teaches that suffering arises from attachment, anger, and ignorance, mental states that lead us into a cycle of suffering. One of the fundamental principles of Buddhism is the Four Noble Truths, with the truth of suffering as the starting point. When you understand and accept that suffering is an unavoidable part of life, you will no longer be controlled by it, but you will find ways to face and transform it. Listen to the real-life story of and throughout this video. To overcome suffering, pressure, and have a beautiful life. An, a single mother, had just lost her stable job that she loved and is now facing unforeseen hardships in life. Money is tight, her health is declining, and she feels the weight growing heavier on her shoulders. The feeling of being unable to change her situation leads her into despair. She worries about her future and her children's future. Every day, it seems like things are getting worse. This is a perfect example of suffering that anyone can face in life. Suffering is when we feel helpless in the face of our circumstances, when we cannot change what has happened, and when we have no control over the future. But suffering only truly becomes a burden when we cling to things that cannot change. Buddhism teaches that when you realize and understand that not everything you experience will last forever, you will be able to face it with more ease. Buddhism and how to liberate from suffering. Buddhism shows that suffering can be transformed if we understand its root causes and change the way we approach it. Suffering is not something we must endure without escape, it is something that can be transcended by changing our mindset and attitude toward life. To transform suffering, Buddha teaches us to practice mindfulness, let go of attachment, and live in the present. Suffering can pass if you realize that everything is impermanent, and nothing is eternal. When Anne realized that she could not change the past but could change the way she faced these challenges, she began to apply mindfulness and meditation into her daily life. Every morning, instead of sinking into worry, she took a few minutes to breathe deeply and focus on the small things around her. The sound of birds singing, her children's smiles, or the gentle feeling of each breath. She felt a shift in her mind, and the burden slowly lifted. And story is a clear testament that suffering can be reduced when we understand its nature and learn how to change our attitude toward life. Impermanence, continuous change. Buddhism teaches that impermanence is the nature of this universe. Everything around us, including the hardships and pain we experience, changes, and nothing lasts forever. Death, loss, and changes in life are all inevitable parts of the cycle of existence. Impermanence can make us feel uneasy because we cannot control change. But what's important is that we must realize that change is the natural course of life, and accepting change is the path to freedom. When we understand that everything changes, we will no longer cling to things that cannot change, thus reducing our suffering. And began to realize that her current difficulties were not things that would last forever. The financial burdens, work-related worries, and life stresses are impermanent. They will pass if she knows how to change her attitude and look at them differently. She began to feel lighter. The difficulties were no longer something to fear. Instead of clinging to painful past experiences, she learned to embrace each day as a gift, an opportunity to change and improve her life. Impermanence teaches us that what we are experiencing today will not stay forever, and if we accept change, we will become stronger in each challenge. Mindfulness, living fully in each moment. Mindfulness is the ability to live in the present, not letting your mind be carried away by the past or fears of the future. Buddhism teaches that mindfulness is not just meditation but a way of life, helping us clearly perceive each moment and maintain awareness in everything we do. Living with mindfulness helps us reduce stress, anxiety, and see the value in the small things in life. Practicing mindfulness helps us keep our minds from being scattered, creating space for peace and tranquility. And decided to practice mindfulness in her life. She started with simple things, like when playing with her children, she would focus entirely on them, without thinking about other worries. She also set aside time each morning to meditate, focusing solely on her breath and the sensations in her body. As she learned to live fully in each moment, the stresses in her life began to feel lighter. When living with mindfulness, you will realize that negative emotions will not last long, because you will not cling to them. You will become more aware, not letting your mind wander into unnecessary thoughts. Just like when she lived with mindfulness, she felt she had more energy to face challenges in life. Practicing mindfulness. Breathe deeply whenever you feel stressed. Meditate each morning or evening to keep your mind peaceful. Focus on your tasks, whether it's washing dishes, cooking, or playing with your children. Forgiveness, the path to freedom. Forgiveness in Buddhism is not just about accepting others' mistakes but also liberating yourself. Forgiveness is not for others, but for helping us free ourselves from resentment and attachment to negative emotions. And had to learn to forgive herself. She had often felt that she wasn't good enough and had made many mistakes. But when she learned to forgive the wrongs in her past, she felt much lighter. Forgiveness helped her free her soul from the bonds of negative emotions. When you forgive, you no longer carry anger or suffering. Forgiveness helps you liberate yourself from emotional burdens, and creates space for peace and love. When she forgave herself and those who hurt her, she felt a profound sense of liberation. Forgive yourself for the mistakes in the past. Forgive others to release your soul from resentment. Belief in your ability to change. Belief in the ability to change is a crucial factor in transforming your life. Buddhism teaches that everyone has the ability to transform themselves and their circumstances. And started believing in her ability to change when she decided to step out of the safety of despair. When you believe that you can change, you will find the strength to face challenges, overcome difficulties, and create new opportunities in life. Just like Belief in yourself is the starting point for any change. Now, she has a much better life, she lives fully and is grateful for every moment. So, we've traveled a long journey, from understanding suffering, recognizing impermanence in life, to learning how to live with mindfulness and forgiveness. You've seen clearly that every challenge, every pain, or difficulty in life is not permanent. We can change the way we face them. Suffering is not the enemy, but the great teacher. It can only win when you surrender. But when you understand that suffering can also pass, when you know how to let go and forgive, when you accept change and live fully in each moment, you will see spiritual freedom and peace gradually filling your soul. As the Four Noble Truths teach, suffering is part of life, but transforming suffering is a choice. And you are the one who has the power to decide your life. Now, as this video ends, what will you do? Are you ready to step out of the psychological burdens, abandon unnecessary worries, and live fully in each moment? Are you ready to believe in yourself, in your ability to change, and live a freer, happier life? If the answer is yes, then act now. Don't wait, don't waste any more time. Start practicing what you've learned right now. Let go of attachment to the past. Forgive yourself and others. Live with mindfulness in each moment, feeling peace right here, right now. Remember that life changes when we change. And you, with the change from within, will make a difference in your life. Thank you for watching the video. Be sure to share this lesson with your loved ones, so that we can walk together on the path to true peace and happiness. Start today, and let your life become a story of change, peace, and love.